Okay, back like we never left B.D.A, and we're here for another detail that we probably missed. No, we definitely missed a huge detail that I think contributes to the story in a positive way. And we do these videos from time to time when things are overlooked or translations aren't handled the best way. And typically the source we use for this is Sandman at Sandman_AP on Twitter. So far, everything we've referenced that he's talked about has not been incorrect and has been acknowledged by the translator for Viz, the company that brings the official version of the One Piece chapters. So he brought up another important detail that I think goes in line with my way of thinking and how I've been feeling about a certain character. If you enjoy content like this and you don't ever want to miss another detail, because if it comes out, we're going to talk about it, sub to the channel, drop a like, turn on post notifications. Now let's get to it, because I think this is really cool, because this changes my perception of this character. I mean, not completely, but I think he should be viewed in a different light. Okay, what am I talking about? So again, Sandman_AP on Twitter, I'll link it below. Every now and again, after the official version comes out, the Viz translation, Sandman will come out and say, hey, I don't think this translation was the best way to handle this, even though, like him, we all support the Viz translations. Those are the official translations. Every time they come out, I'm jumping to read them just to see what they say in comparison to other translations, right? So this time, he's talking about the moment when Hyogoro and Kawamatsu, they were talking about Ushimaru. Sandman goes on to say, I'm surprised the official Viz didn't translate the line of Ushimaru being a Daikengo, great swordsman, in the latest chapter. It's important because only him, Mihawk, and Ryuma are called Daikengo in all the chapters till now. Zoro's dream is to become the strongest Daikengo. So then he shows an illustration of what it said in the Viz translation, which is, Lord Ushimaru was a descendant of Shimotsuki Ryuma, the god of the blade. And then he points out the kanji as well as various examples of people being called the greatest swordsman. Back on the bridge with Gyukimaru, he talked about Ryuma and he called him a Daikengo. Zoro, when he was making his promise, he said he was going to be the greatest Daikengo. We even see it in the title, Chapter 5, The King of the Pirates and the Master Swordsman, which is again translated according to Sandman as Daikengo. This is really important because I think for Ushimaru, I have mentioned in several videos that Oda has been very coy with Ushimaru. We've seen glimpses of him and we have been waiting to see exactly what Ushimaru can do. But now, basically, this is saying that Ushimaru, he was a master swordsman, or he was a Daikengo. And again, the only master swordsman that we hear talked about in the story are Mihawk, Ryuma, what Zoro would like to be, and Ushimaru. That's great praise. He even goes on to reference an interview between Watsuki, the author of Rurouni Kenshin, and Oda. He says the sword god Ryuma is revealed to have one eye like Zoro. Here is Oda's interview held this year about Zoro being one-eyed. I've covered this interview before, but the gist of it is that Watsuki asked Oda why Zoro has become one-eyed, and Oda did not answer that question. So that was something that I was talking about, saying there's a reason for Zoro's eye, like it's not just nothing at this point, because if it was just aesthetic, Oda could answer that, say, well, it looks cool, right? Because he's done that before in the past at various things. For this question, he doesn't answer, and now we probably know why, because it's connecting Zoro to Ryuma. What's the meaning of this connection? We don't know, but it's really important for Oda to hide it this long and just completely not answer that question. Sandman goes on to say that Zoro was born in Shimotsuki village. Ryuma and Ushimaru, they had the Shimotsuki name. Then, what does Shimotsuki mean? In Japanese, it means November, in which Zoro was born. But I believe another important meaning is hiding behind it. And in this blurb, he goes on to talk about why he thinks Zoro was actually born in Shimotsuki village, meaning samurai village. So this goes back to so many conversations where after Oda talked about this in volume 96, even before then, when we saw Ryuma, the younger Ryuma, if you go back and look at Monster, Zoro looked just like him. So of course people are saying, well, that's just manga, that's just art. There are other characters that look just like each other that aren't related. For the most part, characters that look alike, they typically have something in common in one way or the other, right? And for Zoro, that's been a theory for the longest, especially after Oda went into the Kozabura backstory about him coming to the East Blue, him being the person that made Enma and Wado Ichimonji. Now Zoro, he wields both. I mean, at some point, it's not a coincidence, right? Someone also in the replies goes on to talk about Vista and points out that in his Vivid card, Vista is called a Daikengo as well. Now, Vista is a character that a lot of people appreciate, and we hold to a high regard not only because he was a commander on Whitebeard's ship, but how he did versus Mihawk, and he seemed to be chasing after real swordsmen and caring about that title. Now, would we classify Vista as a master swordsman? I'm not sure. He's being called a Daikengo, and maybe that's just a broad term for really great swordsmen, but it's not used on everyone. So we have the swordsman debate all the time, which I think at this point it really doesn't matter about a pure swordsman versus someone that just uses a sword as an extension of their power. And I wonder if this adds anything to it. In my opinion, it really doesn't matter whether someone is a pure swordsman or whatever. I think that just leads to some toxic conversation. Fun, but toxic. But in this case, I'm surprised Odin was never called a Daikingo. Odin was a fantastic swordsman, but he wasn't referenced that way. For Ushimaru to be referenced as a Daikingo, I think Oda will at some point connect Ushimaru to Zoro again, and he's waiting probably till the end of Wano when Zoro goes and visits Ryuma's grave. Maybe Gyukumaru shows back up and we get some more exposition on not only turning his blade to a black blade, but Ushimaru and what he stood for, how good he was, maybe some flashback, and then maybe Oda makes the blatant connection for Zoro that, hey, you're probably more than likely related to this master swordsman. We have not seen much of Ushimaru at all. Even pictures of him in the manga, very scarce. So Oda is saving this character for a reason to now find out that he's one of the few characters to be called a Daikingo in the entirety of One Piece. I'm intrigued. And I think this is a great catch by Sandman for pointing this out, because again, this is not to the detriment of the Viz, because he's not denouncing the Viz. He supports the Viz 100%, as do I, but it's for the fans. Understanding things better, making connections, because I think at this point, it's pretty much confirmed. Zoro is 100% a Shimotsuki and connected to Ryuma. I was talking to someone recently and we were talking about why are people trying to denounce this connection, saying, well, Zoro doesn't need to be a Shimotsuki. He's strong on his own. He's strong as a regular pirate. Well, that's true, and that's fair. Either way, I think it's great because for Luffy's commanders, him or Sanji, and again, I'm just using those two, they don't have devil fruits. And I think for it to make sense, for them to compete with the likes of King, Katakuri, Smoothie, Queen, all these monsters with devil fruits, they must have something in their arsenal that can somewhat match up, guys. It's not a bad thing. It's adding to their character. And I think we all felt like Zoro was special, but now we're finding out just how special he is, because he's a badass with or without the Shimotsuki last name. So it's not a detriment. It's only a positive because Zoro is going to be Zoro and Sanji is going to be Sanji. I think it's all great. Neither is being carried by this last name or this prestige. They have both carved out a role for themselves, and in the One Piece world in which we can argue that Sanji's the greatest Germa of all time. For Zoro, if he's a Shimotsuki, he has some work to do to catch up to Ryuma, right? But he's definitely on his way. Don't get it twisted. So guys, there's also a theory out there by the Monkey Business. He's also a YouTuber. I'll put the link down below to it, where he talks about how he believes Zoro ended up in the East Blue, and it's an entire theory about some Japanese lore, and I think it's a really interesting read. If you guys are interested, maybe I can make an entire video out of it, of course with the Monkey Business's approval, but I think it's a really good read, so I'll link that below as well. But guys, give me your thoughts. What do you make of this information about Ushimaru being a master swordsman? I mean, in this case, it doesn't put him over Odin or anything, in my opinion, but it is really interesting. But guys, yeah, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BroggoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BroggoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Guys, again, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost.
One last thing. This was brought to my attention, and this is Ushimaru, but just look at him really quickly. I'm not gonna say what I think this could mean because I don't buy it at all. Like, it's really cool, but I don't buy it at all. But looking at this picture, what do you think this could mean? Just piece things together by yourself, leave it in the comment section, and let me know, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, no way, right? And then I posted it on Twitter as well. Follow me on Twitter at BroggoDAce. I don't know. Just give me your thoughts. What the heck do you think this means? Because I don't think it means anything, but it's really cool.